Hello, I'm Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this is Brother Knows Quest, the podcast where I, your host, introduce my sister, the co-host, to the wonderful world of tabletop role-playing games. Again, these are usually not going to be reviews, they're just going to be me telling her about a different book or game or something. And this week, it's going to be more 5e supplements from Monte Cook Games. It's kind of like bringing Numenera, if you're not familiar with it, I'll explain a little bit more about it in a bit, to your 5e game, or just doing a 5e game with Numenera's setting. Beth, here is the things we're talking about today. I want to keep one of these called Where the Machines Wait, which is a mega dungeon, mega campaign style game to use with this setting. But I'll let you look at the other books.
Beasts of Flesh and Steel.
A bestiary with more of the Numenera's weird creatures in it for D&D. Well, for 5e.
And Beneath the Monolith.
Yeah. Numenera is a world of fanciful things and high-tech stuff that comes across as magical. It's so high-tech. That is basically a guidebook to the world. There's 9 kingdoms who've kind of made a peace with each other in this world, and outside of that is just more wildlands where little settlements pop up and all that. But I'll discuss that here in a second, too. So yeah, I was going to just talk about the Beneath the Monolith, but then I realized it's just a world book, a guidebook to the world, and that this would probably be better off to add the bestiary in as well. And Where the Machines Wait, because I'm not going to talk about Where the Machines Wait too much. It's just basically, it's more like adding it to your world, adding the Numenera to your current D&D game. And the other books here is Beneath the Monolith is one where you literally go to the world of Numenera, the 9th world. There's also going to be a whole lot more about this if you go back to listen to our Numenera episode, where it's actually using the Numenera rules to play the game, cipher system rules. The reason I didn't realize what these books were is because I got it as a way to introduce my players to Numenera, and then we switch over to the cipher system rules that it was intended for. And I never actually got anybody to play this one, even though it's 5e. And that's all I can find people to play anymore is 5e. Again, I will say, Numenera is a game setting 1 billion years in our future. Humans have, there's been 9 previous huge empires that ruled the world in that period of time. Some of them may or may not have been human. Some of them may have been interdimensional, intergalactic, all that. But humanity, as we are now in the 21st century, has popped back up in the last 1,000 years, and all the other empires have gone, but they've left behind insane tech and stuff that we call the Numenera. It verges on magical to us as a new, reintroduced species on this planet, left to our own devices and these things we've found. Which book are you opening right now? I hear you flipping.
Beasts of Flesh and Steel.
I kind of figured that much. Yeah.
There's this cute little creature called a brindrill, I believe, is how that's pronounced.
Okay, what's it look like?
A sloth with big bug eyes that are adorable.
Yeah.
And a little mouth, and it's fuzzy, really fuzzy, and it's maybe a mixture of an ape and a moth or a bat. I don't know how to explain it. It's adorable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get that. I like the idea of anything with moth wings.
Well, I think that's fur. I'm not sure. Maybe gliding squirrel.
I don't know. You got the book, and it's a whole table away. So this 1 billion year in the future setting you're in, they have it set in the Beneath the Monolith book that you can teleport in from another dimension, basically Faerun or wherever you want to in your D&D game, and be here. Or you can create a D&D class character and just make it for this whole game. And they say if you're a fighter or something with more physical combat, you should be called a glaive, which is what the classes, well, if you can call them classes, are called in the Numenera's core rules back in the, if you get theirs. And you're a nano if you're a magical kind of character, and you're a jack if you're something in between. That's how they look at that. And they also have a conversion for this world's money from the gold coins you might be teleported in with if you would do that option. So you go from gold, platinum to shins, which is the currency in Numenera. Also, your magic will still work if you're a D&D class who's popped in here, because just like to these people who live in the 9th world, they don't really understand how their magic works. It isn't magic, it's tech. And you could be, as a wizard, more in tune with the sort of Wi-Fi around you, like the weave but of this world, but it's all just a mesh connection that they used, that the previous civilizations used to connect their tech. Kind of like Wi-Fi. That's why I call it Wi-Fi. And in this setting, it's a It's more of a tech thing than magic, but it still works. And they won't really notice the difference. The people won't, because they see these wacky things happen all the time. Now, Numenera is a title given to anything that they don't understand. So anything beyond like sticks and stones and huts, to them is Numenera. Anything left behind by the previous civilizations. I would like to be able to play Numenera more, like the core Numenera rules, cipher system rules, because as much as this actually fits with D&D's rules, it isn't as simple. D&D isn't as simple to run as Numenera's core rules. As for the setting itself, you got that book you got there, Beneath the Monolith, covers 9 of those kingdoms, the 9 kingdoms that have kind of formed a peace to help better humanity instead of battling amongst themselves all the time.
There's roaches.
Of course there's roaches.
Cockatan.
A cool thing about the Ninth World is humanity might have evolved and disappeared or moved away and then been brought back into this setting somehow. There's one species that didn't leave the planet, and it stayed the same, except...
It's always the damn roaches.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
But it isn't roaches. It's octopi. They have an entire empire underwater, and they are sentient now, like more sentient than they are.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about octopi.
We were talking about cockroaches.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the one species that didn't disappear, is actually octopi.
Really?
They've advanced, and they can come up on the land in little pod chairs. It's insane.
Oh, there's a lot more in here. Is this whole book just the monsters?
Yeah, that's what beasts of flesh and steel mean. It's a bestiary.
Menu.
You flipping through it? I'm trying to find something that isn't in the book, I'm sure. If you want to try do it with the D&D setting, these books, like I said, are fairly affordable. You can get free samples of them on DriveThruRPG or Monte Cook Games store. But I would really want to more or less play in one of these kingdoms, because if you go outside of them, there's just, hamlets and odd and end little towns. There is a group that work across the borders of every country or kingdom. They are called the Order of Truth, and the people who are in it are called the Priests of Aeons, the Aeon Priests. And if you are one of those, you're most likely a nano, because you're more in tune with the Numenera. And also, they kind of help not regulate, but help people understand the Numenera around them as best they can. They're also out to learn more about it themselves, of course, since it's insane how powerful a lot of it is. You will, now I've listened to people play a podcast, the Amber Clave podcast, where later in the game, they got a cipher, which is a one-use item in the Numenera. They got a random roll on a table and got a cipher that creates a volcano wherever it's activated. And they used it to take down a giant, one of the calamity-style creature. And they created a new island in the process that they played in season 3. Spoiler alert. That's a good little podcast if you ever listen to it or watch it. They have the 3rd season on YouTube, I think. There is also Where the Machines Wait. And it's, like I said a minute ago, if you want to take your D&D game and plop some Numenera in the middle of it, you can use this. Basically, an earthquake unearths some ancient city underground, where it's basically the world of Numenera. All this really advanced tech and all that, and your wizards and fighters and bards show up down here to explore, as they are wont to do in D&D. Under here, there is, even the elder races like elves and stuff in Faerun are too young to remember this world underground. So it is basically plopping some D&D or some Numenera into your D&D game. It's really kind of cool. And that's how I would run this. If I was going to do it, I'd probably try to introduce a little bit of Numenera to the players using this module, Where the Machines Wait. And then if they liked it, I would put them in the whole 9th world itself. And if they really like that, I would say, let's try playing it with the cipher system rules that it was intended for. Ease them into something different. What else have you found in that book? By the way, I hear you stop flipping on something.
Earthshaker.
Large creature, I take it?
Yeah, it's like a whale-like creature that can walk on land. It eats the tops of branches, leaves, trunk tops, and such.
Oh. So it looks like a
can
whale.
Reach heights of about 50 feet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
And at night, they get into herds.
Don't people follow them? I'm pretty sure I read that the people follow it. Maybe it was in the other world book I was reading that. There's nomadic tribes that follow certain, like...
Well, it says foolish beast hunters have attempted to catch or kill an isolated mate or calf, only to see another one charging into view with her tusks lowered. Yeah. And there's more than 2 tusks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10.
You don't want a 50-foot tall creature charging at you, especially in a herd.
Yeah, like it doesn't even look like it has a face.
Okay.
It's just all tusk.
Now, I've seen people who live in moving Numenera facilities. They're just huge, basically something you'd see out of Star Wars that just kind of roam about and people move with them and live with them. But I don't remember the tusk ones you're talking about. But these things I'm thinking of are more like 150 foot tall. They're huge monoliths themselves. No, the priests, the Aeon priests. Now they also extend their reach farther outside the kingdoms. So the little hamlets and stuff I was talking about outside the kingdoms, they tend to get the priests who are more curious. Also, they're trying to help people out there take care of themselves. But there is occasionally a few of those priests who abuse their power out there, as when you're out of the eye of your overseeing governing body. That tends to happen with people of power, I suppose. I've ran a game where those became a problem. It's pretty fun. The priests can be a very powerful ally or enemy, or both. It depends on how you want to play them, because they are more in tune with the Numenera than most. There's a kingdom whose capital has a giant super weapon, like a laser that just zaps anything in its way. And their big secret is that it only works like once a day. But no, that people don't know that because it's so destructive they don't take a chance. There's just so many cool things to have. There's basically these flying dragon-like creatures, and there's knights who ride around on them for one kingdom. And it's all so whimsical. There's like a floating city. Why wouldn't there be floating cities in a world like this? The cool thing about Numenera, the objects themselves and ciphers, is a lot of time we just use them for whatever we see that they're doing, but they might have been made for something else, like a potion that would cause you to, or a vial of goo that caused you to teleport here to there, or get a shield, could just be a fuel source for a ship that would give it those properties. And we found it and said, oh, this is probably what this is meant for. And they just drink it. A lot of it can turn bad if you're not careful because it's something far outside your understanding. Have you found something else?
There's a well with a community on it, like in Doctor Who.
Oh.
Except for it's in the water, not space.
Oh, hey, I believe that was in the Amber Glaive as well podcast. They have a friend who's an octopus.
And then on the page after that, there's a Memora.
I can't tell you. I don't remember all their names. There's some weird ones.
They steal the shapes and memories of humanoids by eating them.
Oh, that sounds very D&D.
And they're also referred to as face eaters because there's this dude eating a zombie-looking face.
Oh, so the person's been dead for a while. And he's just going to take his identity.
Some of them carry a glass flask of digestive enzymes. It contains concentrated Memora saliva and with added vinegar, tomato paste, and liquid smoke for flavoring.
Wow. Well, now there we have some lore that we didn't have before. There is still tomatoes and vinegar a billion years in the future. It's a setting in a game system, not a game system, but a setting that you may, if you're a character who likes to have everything explained to them to be understood, like you want your GM or DM to be able to explain how this thing works and why it works the way it does. It's not meant to do that. It is literally, as a setting, it is meant to be outside of your understanding.
There's
any sufficiently advanced technology indistinguishable from magic is what this is like. A lot of the items you might read about won't tell you what their original purpose was. They'll just tell you what they do now. And if your DM or GM wants to come up with a purpose that they originally had, maybe that works. I heard a podcast the other day that they had a machine that put googly eyes on things that actually operated. So it would look at things with those googly eyes. So you put a rock in it, it gets a googly eye, and then the eyes just work, and it's creepy. I heard you say wasp.
Yes, big wasps, hives of wasps that chew through metal.
Oh,
eat metal.
There is a red iron storm, rust storm. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a storm that basically, the iron wind, that's what it's called. And it will blow through, and anything it touches, since it's full of nanites, it just changes them. It will meld two people that are too close together, or it'll eat away some things other half completely if it touches them, or it will turn things it touches into better stuff sometimes. It's just the wildest, unpredictable thing, and you don't want to be caught in it. And it's just a natural phenomenon that happens in this world because of the tech gone awry. It's a wild place to be. There's a short story out about the iron wind, and I think it's where I heard. I don't. It's sad. There's a man's dog gets caught in it. I'm one of those people that look online and say, does the dog die in this movie? And I won't watch it if it does.
Yeah.
I'm looking through where the machines wait, and I found something in here you might like to see. You probably already seen it, or you might have overlooked it. Look on page 88 of this book.
Of which one?
Of this one right here.
What?
It's the actual campaign, like a game, like
Did you say page 88?
Yeah, page 88.
88. Yeah, I've seen that before.
It looks like a fish Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Mm-hmm.
It's on land, but it's got fish features, and it's colored like a koi fish.
Yeah.
But it's eating something, I do believe.
A human.
Oh, nope.
That's a human.
Okay. Yeah, I know how you like dinosaurs. I seen that. I was like, oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Not very well camouflaged. Oh, it's got flippers instead of
I told you. It's a fish. Tyrannosaurus Rex. I would have went into more detail on this, but I've already covered so much Numenera in the previous, like one of our earlier episodes is all about Numenera and the world of Numenera. So if you want to learn more about the setting, and this just tells you how to turn that setting into a D&D campaign with a D&D set of rules. But if you want to learn more about the world, go back and listen to the old setting or the old episode, and you'll understand more about that. The first bestiary here is basically the first Cypher system or Numenera bestiary that I got in there. We didn't really cover those much. They're just bestiaries. They're more of a visual thing to enjoy. If you was going to play Numenera, what you've played, would you rather stick with the rules that like 5e rules, or would you rather play the way that the game was originally built on in Cypher system rules?
I don't know.
Cypher system, how you played Fallout, and also how you played the one where the heads got tossed at you. Basically, you just roll a d20 and try to hit a target number that I set. And
the d20 doesn't seem to like me very much.
No, it doesn't. But that's also because you made a terrible character and you had a stick.
You gave me the stick.
I prefer the Numenera's Cypher system rules because they're so much simpler. A small, simple understanding of this is every creature, every action you have has a target number. Say it's 3. That's all you got to remember, because usually that's your health and everything for your creatures, for everything. And the enemy and your players will have to beat that, but they have to beat it times 3. So they roll a d20, and if it's a 3, they got to get 9 on their d20 or higher. And there's ways they can lower that by using their skills to lower it by a level. And if you lower it by a level, you take off 1 off the 3, so you have to roll 6 instead of 9. And they could keep on doing things that way. That's how things get rolled. It's so much simpler. You don't have the whole page and a half of some creatures' descriptions. Well, you have the description, but you don't got the abilities and stats and all. You have them, but they're using the Numenera rules just so much easier. Like I said, go back and listen to those episodes. But if you really want to stick with 5e rules, this is the way to go. And it will put you in this wonderful world, or bring that wonderful world to your players. Also, if you just want the bestiary, there's some nice new creatures in there to throw in at your players. I don't really have much more to say about it. If I have links in the description for Drive-Thru-RPG for these. If you're not sure about them, there is free previews of each of those books I've just mentioned in those links as well. So I would check out the free previews and decide from there. And if you want to actually get them, the PDF, you can find them on Monte Cook Game Store, physical and PDFs, or you can find just the PDF on Drive-Thru-RPG, and those links in our description will be affiliate links if you want to help us keep the podcast hosted, and anything you buy when you click on one of those will go towards helping us out. And we appreciate it, but you don't have to. Like I said, try the free previews. See if there's anything in there you enjoy. I like Monte Cooks for that. They always have, almost everything I've seen has a free preview available if you just want to give it a glance. Anything you want to say besides complain about my character options for you?
No.
Apologies for the short episode and the all over the place episode. Since I hadn't opened this since the day I bought it, I thought I was going to have more. I thought it was going to be more difference than the original Numenera stuff I covered, but it's not. So if I just don't want to repeat myself that much, basically. But I already promised I would talk about it, so here we are. I'm still planning on playing Fallout. If you want to watch that on Twitch and YouTube, Fallout 4, now that the next gen update's out. I had to find another mic since I hadn't streamed in a while. I was waiting for either this or Elden Ring's DLC to come out. I didn't get a chance to play the PC much, so I let my roommate use it, and he has lost my nice mic.
Oh.
It's gone. It's completely gone. I've searched the entire house. Me and him took the whole house apart. And we suspect since he kept moving it out of his way, it fell off into the trash bin and got thrown away.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was very upset about that. I have another one in the mail, so that should be taken care of. And I'll be behind everybody else who is streaming the next gen update, which doesn't really add much to the game. It does make it look better and some stability stuff for some people. I'll be playing it on Xbox. Anyway, if you like what you heard here, we are part of the Gruesome Gaming Group podcast network. We have 2 other podcasts. We have Leveling Duo. It's where occasionally, whenever a new game comes out that we really enjoy, me and Beth or me and my friend Dakota will talk about that video game. But it doesn't come out all the time. If you subscribe, it'll notify you whenever a new episode does come out. Also, we have Horrific History and Hauntings. That's where Beth here tells me about everything in the title. Or sometimes we cover true crime or just disasters in general. Things like that. Cool things about history that the history books ignore. Or things that don't belong in history books because they're probably fiction. Use your common sense when it comes to those episodes. If we're talking about a ghost, it shouldn't be in a history book. I don't know how else to say it. Do you?
No.
Since we cover both fact and fiction.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to us or find those episodes, there'll be a Linktree link in the description just above the affiliate links I just mentioned earlier. And that Linktree will take you to, well, our Linktree. The first one will be our website of all of our podcasts and how to subscribe and all that. And then the next one's down will just be how to contact us if you want to follow us on Twitch or YouTube or X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. All those ways to reach out. Discord. Feel free to reach out to us that way if you want. And if you want to make a small donation to us or something like that, there'll be an option below all those links just to get a tip and keep, like I said, keep the podcast hosted. We appreciate all that. And if you want to leave a review and complain about me stuttering on about a game that I thought was going to be different when I brought it up. I've done that a couple times now throughout the series. Got into something, promised something, got into it the next week and realized it's not exactly different than something I've already covered, or it's not a game setting that I really thought was what it was. So I promised something completely opposite. Anyway, thank you for listening. I've been Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this has been Brother Knows Quest. Bye-bye.